Hi, sixth graders. This week we are reading Children of the Midnight Sun, Young Native Voices of Alaska. It is by Trisha Brown, and the photographs are by Roy Corral. Your essential question is, what kinds of things might two different cultures have in common? These portraits of two Native American children growing up in Alaska reveal how they each celebrate their culture's ancient traditions in the context of modern life. So, first subtitle or section, Selina Tolson. Belly down on the Hydaburg dock, Selina Tolson, 9, and her cousin Jamie peer into the shadowy water beneath them. The girls identify seaweed, jellyfish, and salmon while they wait for Selina's teenage brother Charles to come with his skiff. Selina's family left earlier on the Haida girl, her grandfather's 56-foot commercial seiner, and the girls are anxious to join them at a picnic across the water. "Look at those fish," says Selina. "I wish I had my brother's rod." She loves to fish for salmon, although she admits that her brother helps reel them in. Selina has 3 brothers and 2 sisters, a cat named Fatso, a pen pal, a treehouse, and a chana, or grandfather, who tells her wonderful stories. This late August day is sunny and dry, a rare occasion. Hydaburg, a village of about 400 Haida Indian people, lies in rainforest country on Prince of Wales Island in southeast Alaska. Each year, the area normally gets about 150 inches of rain and little snow. The caption for the photo says, "Rows of totem poles stand next to Selina's school. Some are new poles, others are very old, collected from the other places on the island." Minutes pass slowly. The girls roll onto their backs and stare at the clouds. On Selina's wrist are 2 broad, engraved silver bracelets that tinkle whenever they touch. The Eagle clan symbol adorns one. Selina wears a silver ring, too. "My uncle gave me this ring," Selina says. "This bracelet was my dad's mother's, and when she died, he gave it to me. I don't take them off, ever." Okay, so second subtitle, Art and Culture. Artistically, the Haidas have much in common with their neighbors, the Tlingits and Tsimshians. Their styles vary so slightly that only a clan member or a fellow artist might notice the differences. All 3 groups carve totem poles and follow similar customs in clan organization. But each group retains its own identity and tribal lore, and each is known for its artistic specialty. Historically, for the Haidas, it was dugout canoes, made from the biggest cedar trees in the region, found about 40 miles south on Canada's Queen Charlotte Islands. In Selina's village, there is an abundance of artists. Rosa Albee makes beautiful button blankets. Her brother Warren carves Haida-style boats and totems. Viola Burgess teaches Haida art to the children. Selina's mom, Christine, is among those who teach Haida dance. "Our dance costume is a special blanket with our clan on it," says Selina. "Jamie and I are eagle. There's eagle, frog, bullhead, and beaver. We don't use the same dance steps for every song," she explains. "We practice what we're going to do. Our teachers teach us Haida words like quada, that means quarter, and dala means money, and deuce means cat. Hoa means thank you." So down here it says Selina loves to fish. Although she'd rather have a coho salmon on the end of her line, she'll settle for this rockfish. Next to Selina's school is a grassy lot lined with totem poles. Life in a rainforest means there are always plenty of large trees for carving. The frequent rain and constant dampness speed the natural decay of these valuable pieces of history and art. Some were moved from other places on Prince of Wales, others were carved here. Historically, the totems served as storytellers, memorials, or signs of clan ownership. Finally, Selina spots Charles on the horizon and jumps to her feet. Within minutes, he motors in and helps his passengers aboard for a 20-minute ride. At the picnic, 3 generations of adults, Selina's aunts, uncles, grandparents, older cousins, and family friends, sit on driftwood logs, talking, laughing, and feeding a bonfire. Over the flames, they roast hot dogs and marshmallows. Tupperware containers of salads, smoked cheen, or salmon, and desserts are opened. A few grown-ups keep their eyes on the young ones romping in the chilly ocean. Selina can't be tempted to jump in, but wades instead, squealing when the cold water laps against her ankles. Occasionally, a shivering child runs up to a parent for a rub down with a towel. A few head into the woods to look for berries. Seated in nearby lawn chairs are Selina's grandparents, Sylvester and Frida Peel, respected tribal elders who are passing on stories, language, and dance, teaching the Haida ways in daily life and in cultural heritage classes for children. And then for the picture, it says, Selina poses with her mother, Christine, and grandparents Sylvester and Frida Peel. Because clan membership is passed from mother to child, Frida, Christine, and Selina are all equals. Okay, so next section, we've got another subtitle, Haida History. Sylvester was born in Hydaburg, but his parents were not. His mother came from British Columbia, and his father was from Klukwan. Klukwan? Okay, sure. A village about 10 or 12 miles away from Hydaburg. Klukwan and another village were abandoned in 1911 when the government forced the residents to move to Hydaburg. It was mostly for school purposes, Sylvester says gently, but this was a better place to live, with a river and lots of salmon. At one time, his ancestors all lived in Canada. Some tribal stories say that about 400 years ago there was a food shortage, and one group came north to Prince of Wales Island. The Alaska Haidas settled in villages that had been abandoned by Tlingits. However, other storytellers say the new arrivals warred with the Tlingits, driving them to the northern part of the island. Today, an invisible boundary splits the island, with Tlingit country in the north and the Haidas in the south. But wars? None lately. So for picture caption, the third largest American island, Prince of Wales Island, lies just across the border from Canada. The Haidas found plentiful food when they arrived. Deer, berries, fish eggs, crab, salmon, halibut, and seaweed. And even though Hydaburg's children can walk to the little dewdrop grocery store for candy, pop, crackers, and other snacks, their families still mostly rely on the ocean to feed them. I like coho eggs and dog salmon eggs, said Selina. We dry them and save them for the winter. I help pick the berries, and I help with drying seaweed, too. My brothers usually go out on the boat and get seaweed on the beach somewhere. At home, they grind it up in the grinder and lay it out on the roof of the house to dry. Then we seal it in plastic bags. The picnic is wrapping up, and as mothers and aunties are replacing lids and gathering children, the men fold up chairs and carry supplies to the water's edge. In the middle of the cove, the beautiful Haida girl waits, anchored in the still, gray water. Charles shuttles the party from the beach to the Scener, a handful at a time. Voyaging home to Hydaburg, Selina turns her face toward the bow of the Haida girl. Her long, black hair flutters in the wind like a flag. For picture, caption says, a member of the Eagle clan, Selina models her ceremonial regalia. Okay, this section is about Josh Hotch, who is a Tlingit. Josh Hotch doesn't know whom he'll marry when he grows up, but he knows she'll be a raven, so his children will be ravens. That's because Josh is a member of the other Tlingit clan, the Eagle clan, just like his mother. You are what your mother is, he explains. An eagle can't marry an eagle, and a raven can't marry a raven. Marrying within your clan would be like marrying a member of your family. At 10, Josh may not know the word moiety, but he understands the concept. Throughout Tlingit territory, nearly all of Alaska's southeast panhandle, the natives historically were born into two moieties, or membership groups, called Eagle and Raven, and further divided into subclans with animal symbols such as killer whale, wolf, or frog. The clan shared responsibilities. If one clan organized to build a house, the other clan finished the work. Then the first hosted a potlatch, or ceremonial feast, that focused on gift-giving memorials and displays of wealth. If a clan member died, the other clan prepared the dead for cremation or burial. Later, the deceased clan would show their thanks by hosting a potlatch. And so it went, back and forth, sharing labor and gifts, with each clan helping and honoring the other. So the picture on this page, the caption says, Josh is robed in a Tlingit blanket, part of his dance regalia. These customs are among the ancient Tlingit traditions woven into daily life in Klukwan, Josh's home village of 140 people in the northern part of the state's panhandle. So, too, are practices such as smoking and drying fish, carving totem poles and masks, weaving raven's tail robes and Tlingit blankets, dancing and singing, storytelling, and celebrating in potlatches. Nothing is done for the sake of tourists. It's just everyday living. The residents also drive cars and own fax machines in a village that mixes past and present in a postcard setting. Next subtitle is called Living with Nature. Klukwan is a nice place, says Josh. We have the biggest mountains in the USA. We have evergreen and cottonwood trees and glaciers, salmon, fish, and deer too. In the spring, the hooligans are here. They're the teeny fish that you can't catch in salmon fishing nets. We make hooligan oil out of them. We dip dried fish or dried hooligan in it. It's a snack. Klukwan is indeed a beautiful, bountiful place to live. That's probably why Tlingit Tlingits have lived in the valley for thousands of years. They were sophisticated artisans who often traded with their Athabascan neighbors. They also held the rights to the trails later used by the gold rush prospectors headed for the Klondike. At the edge of Josh's backyard, beyond the swing set and the fringe of cottonwoods, beyond the smokehouse and the skiff, the Tlingit River rolls by in a broad, braided pattern. In the distance, snow-capped mountains tower above a lush, green valley teeming with fish and wildlife. The people of Klukwan depend on fish and game as their food staples and drive 21 miles to Haines for any other groceries to pick up mail, see a movie, or board the ferry on the Inside Passage. The villagers share this valley with the largest gathering of bald eagles in North America. Each October and November, up to 4,000 eagles congregate to glut themselves on late-run salmon in the Tlingit River. Eagles fight with eagles for fish, Josh says. And the caption in the picture says, Klukwan is so small that there are 10 children in Josh's class of 2nd through 4th graders. Josh's village is long and narrow, laid out parallel to the river along one unpaved street with weathered cabins and newer frame homes sprinkled on each side. Near the middle is the community center, used for potlatches and other special events. Josh and his cousins like to explore, run, play hide and seek, and go bike riding around town. There's plenty of room and little traffic, and everyone knows everybody else. Okay, next section is about growing up Tlingit. Even though Josh is still young, he has learned the rules of his society, not from books, but from the ravens and eagles around him. And if he'd been born a century ago, he would have practiced another Tlingit tradition, the avunculet. At about age 6, Tlingit boys used to go live with their mother's brother, who taught them as they grew to manhood. It was believed that fathers would be too easy on their sons, but that an uncle was the right combination of softness and strictness. Josh's dad, Jones, is a tribal government leader who's teaching his son with assistance from a special uncle. Today, Tlingit children don't leave home for the avunculet, but uncles still help to instruct them, and not just the boys in the family. When Josh's mom, Lainey, was growing up, she and her brothers learned from their mother's brother, Albert Patty. And when Josh was born, Lainey gave him Uncle Albert's Tlingit name, Konkida. He still watches us for now, even though we're grown, Lainey says, and he's been training Josh on the fishing boat on the river. He also had an important role in showing me how to make dried fish, along with my grandmother, my mom, and my dad. And then picture caption says Josh uses a spotting scope to watch for eagles in trees along the river. Contact with non-native settlers, gold miners, missionaries, and educators in the last 2 centuries has altered the ancient ways of the Tlingit people. Especially in the 1900s, the loss of traditional dancing, singing, and weaving was sorely felt. Josh's grandparents weren't taught to dance and sing, Lainey says. If they used their language, they were punished. and as old weavers died, few young people were trained to follow. Only in the last decade has Laney's generation learned the songs and dances of their ancestors by listening to old recordings and experimenting with movements. We had a lot of encouragement from the elders, she says. So picture down here says Josh and his uncle, Albert Patty, leave the village for a fish site on the Tlingit River. From the adults around him, Josh has learned the meaning of the symbols on totem poles and on his special dance clothing. He's learned how to bead, dance, sing, and prepare salmon for smoking. You cut off the head, tail, and fins, Josh says. You use cottonwood to burn in the smokehouse. There's a screen so that no bugs can get in. It's just like how it sounds. Dried fish would be dry, smoked fish would taste like smoke. What I like are herring eggs. They're crunchy. They're better than potato chips. On his way to becoming a man, Josh is surrounded by a village full of eagles and ravens who will make sure he knows who he is. Haida, a Tlingit, a son of Klukwan. Ta-da! Okay, so goal for this week is we're going to compare and contrast. So you can see down on this page, we're going to use something called a Venn diagram. And that is where we will talk about Selina's, I don't want to call it a tribe. Selina's group of people and her heritage and culture. On the right side, we'll talk about Josh's heritage and culture. And then some things that they both have in common. Okay, cool. Where's the stop button? Okay, bye.